if you're looking at the leverage kind of aspect, maybe the real estate route will be a lot more conservative, doesn't fluctuate as much, not so much volatility. Of course, that is provided that you invest in the right kind of properties.
Every time human beings, when you see the stock price come down, the first thing that you think about is that you want to sell. Then when you see the stock price go up, then you say, I better buy now. We like to buy when the price is going up, and we like to sell when the price is going down. Because whenever we see live stock prices and we can have 24/7 access on a Monday to Friday when US market open, we feel like pressing the button.
Feeling like a brand new me. For the very first time, I'm right where I'm meant to be. Brand new me.
So just to do a quick recap, the last episode was with Sean and Phyllis. We went through this particular profile, and this is a brand new season whereby we are going into... sorry, how do I cast the screen? So the screen is the small guy, right? Where's the screen?
It'll be there?
One of here.
I think that one. Oh, there we go.
That is small.
There we go.
We need a new screen then.
That is small.
That is puny. So we were talking about Jason and Elaine. Anyway, if this is your first time joining us on our brand new season, and if you're listening on the road, on Spotify, or watching on YouTube, we are into a season whereby we are diving into exact tactics, and we're talking about like real tactics that usually our team will be deploying for our clients, different kind of profiles, different kind of seasons. And of course, last episode we were talking about Jason and Elaine. Of course, this is a fictitious kind of profile, because if you look at the AI images,
don't know which one is the wife and the daughter, right?
yes, really
This
great
is
job.
meant to be a family.
Great job.
Oh.
AI, I don't know what
She's
AI.
45 years old.
Yeah, it's like both son and father looks the same. Wife and daughter looks exactly the same. It's quite weird. Okay. Anyway, we went to a season of talking about this first particular profile. Jason and Elaine, they bought a 4-bedder at Bartley Ridge 2013. It's a high floor 4-bedder unit at 1.665 million. And today, in terms of their valuation, it's 2.7 million.
Wow.
They've already made a gain of $1 million over 12 years. And they're contemplating to upgrade to a landed property. However, they're asking like, what are some of the other options that's available? So in the last episode, we deep dive into two main concepts. One, it is to buy 2 properties. So Sean and Phyllis, they already deduced the numbers in the exact, like how much does it take? It takes $5,634 to own 2 properties, one for own stay at 2.7 million. That is under Jason's name. Elaine will go and buy a rental property at 1.5 million and rent it out. Lesser stress because you staying in one, you're renting the other one out. You don't have to consume a large property. Second will be to own a landed at 4.2 million freehold. And landed property will be at about 11,000 per month. And of course, we will deep diving in comparison. Like, should you go for 2 condo, 1 landed? And what are the pros and cons? What do you need to take note of? We even went into like, what if one person got retrenched? And how should they really look at this situation? And if you want to have a deep dive on that particular 2 scenario, which is to buy 1 landed or 2 condos, head back to episode number 1. And of course, today we have Jun Wei and Jesley. Yay!
Hello. We are back.
It's a different setup.
Yes. It's,
I prefer this than one table in the middle.
We
It's
had
like
a few.
a judge.
No, we had a few setups already. Sit at the table,
This is the most
stand at the table, stand at the board. Today we are sitting here.
I like sitting. Great.
Yeah.
why do you like sitting, Jesley?
It's not. This is more casual. Actually, most of the podcasts I see, I see like some reno talk, sometimes girl talk. It's always over a coffee table, ma.
Oh.
Think about it.
Alright.
Right. Rarely you have a judge panel.
Right.
Less intense.
Less intense lah, more casual lah. Okay, great. So today we're actually going to talk about 4 different scenarios. Maybe
Yes.
Jimmy, take us away on these 4 scenarios.
Yes. So today again we're talking about Jason and Elaine. The profiles are the same. They're in their 40s, which is the autumn season. Income is still relatively strong, but they are then contemplating which strategy they should go for. Right. So the 4 strategies they have, number 1 is of course to be doing nothing. take whatever money that they have now, put it into dividend stock play. So that would be, I would say, almost like a do-nothing approach, right? They also have a rather conservative approach, I would say, which is to buy a HDB, fully pay the HDB, and pump whatever money they have left into other forms of investment. So that way, cash flow is very low, very manageable.
Okay.
Third one is, of course, to go a bit more aggressive. Pivot into a home that they always wanted to stay in, which is a landed home.
Right.
On top of that, they go and buy another investment property for it to run, for it to see appreciation. And then another one will be, of course, the decouple. Keep the current property which they have bought, right? Buy into another investment property. Yeah, so we're going to dive into 4 of these routes and strategies.
Okay. There's a last one, right, is to really go into like full on low risk mode, which is to sell, rent for 15 months, buy a HDB.
Oh, yes.
Which is the barbell strategy.
Barbell strategy, correct.
Okay, Ken. Hey, sorry, just to sidetrack a little bit, did you guys refer back to their financial calculation on episode 1?
I did.
For my case,
Which is here, financial snapshot, principal use.
I needed some info lah for
Oh, yeah.
decoupling.
So you all went back and looked, right?
Yes.
took reference from this.
Okay, awesome. Great.
for my case,
I thought like you say like not to. Oh my god.
Okay, so we're off to a good start. So let's talk about the first strategy first. So all in, there's going to be 6 different strategies that Jason and Elaine have. Of course, sometimes there are more scenarios, but just for today's context, we'll just talk about these 4.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the very first one, which is, what if this couple choose to do nothing, don't sell? Because anyway, the monthly installment is actually quite low. Because if you look at, they're already very comfortable. They have original loan of 1.249 million. Now, basically, their remaining loan is 715. Monthly installment is 4,009. Now you cannot even get $4,900 monthly installment for 4-bedder. So they were somebody that bought like 10 odd years ago. They enjoy a low price entry. Of course, back then, whenever we look back at any season, at that particular point in time, you will always feel that, wow, a 4-bedder is like, $1.665 million, which looks pretty high at that point in time. But now it's 2.7 million. So we cannot always like look back in the past and say that, hey, what if I bought in the past, right? Because real estate is always inflationary. Now let's think about this couple's perspective is that if they want to maintain this at $4,942 and then don't do anything, and just basically put any kind of savings per month into dividend stocks, what will be the pros and cons and the outcome? Who wants to take it away?
Maybe I'll share on this part. If you go down to slide 46.
Okay, great.
46. Yeah, we just skip it first. 46. Okay, yeah. So, scenario is this. If they do nothing, they continue to stay in this Bartley Ridge property. They have about $1.4 million to put into dividend yield play. So if they decide to go for this, how would that then look like? So a few key considerations here, right? If they were to go with this route is, of course, we want to consider the whole topic about leveraging. I think more often than not, when people talk about, hey, should I put money into stocks or should I put money into real estate? More often than not, the main argument point will be on leverage. You will hear a lot of people talking about, if you buy real estate, you can leverage. But of course, when you buy stocks or you go into dividend play, you can leverage also. And we want to discuss a little bit more about that. How much you can leverage, right? If you use your CPF to invest, how much can you use? How much do you have to put or leave in your OA account and all these things? And of course, last but not least, the cost of holding. So I think these will give hopefully a little bit of clarity as to what it entails, depending on what you decide to do. If we go on to talk about the first one, which is leveraging and margin call, right? We take a look at this short table over here. We've populated some updated numbers. So assuming they were to buy, let's say they have $1.4 million to invest and they're deciding, should I put this into stocks or put it into real estate? Let's say they decide to put this to buy a property under one name, buy under Jason's name. He's 45 years old. He still has 20 more years to go on the loan tenor. Stress test right now for the banks that they're using internally is about 4.3%. Interest rates right now at about 2.35%, 2.45%. Right now, they also have something what they call a step down interest rates. That means for the first year, you pay slightly higher. second year onwards, it may drop by, say, 0.1% and whatnot. So these are the numbers. Jason can loan up to 1.76 million. Very healthy loan for himself.
Right.
Assuming they put that $1.4 million that they have in terms of down payment to 1.76, potentially asset value can go up to 3 over million. Right? 3.1 million, inclusive of buyer's stamp duty and whatnot. And then we go on to the next one. We also want to take a look at how the performance has been like if you decide to put it into real estate. For the past 10 years, for example, we take a look at the property price index. And we look at the red line, which talks about the overall property price index. I go all the way back 10 years ago to 2015. Back then, property price index was about 137.4. Today, it's at 203.4. Overall, throughout this 10-year cycle, it has appreciated about 48%, close to 50%. Right? Of course, if we break that down into a per year basis, averagely we're looking at 4.8%, almost a 5% increment. I think that's quite a conservative assumption on the growth of property prices. And we take a look at the two calculations on the bottom. Of course, this is, if we are just looking from a bird's eye perspective, we talk about just asset value in play. On the left in the yellow, 5% increment on your dividend yield portfolio gives you 1.47 million, 70k a year. Give you a passive income of 5.8k a month. Compare that to if we put it into a property, Jason takes a loan, you buy, of course, asset value is much higher now because of leveraging. You leverage, you buy 3 over million in terms of your property asset value. That can give you about 13.1k per month on appreciation.
Right.
Of course, I think the crux of this example over here is really to look at asset value in overall with the assumption of appreciation at 5% a year. Of course, if you buy something into a higher asset value, that's going to appreciate much faster and much more as well. Yeah. So this is if we assume no leveraging on the dividend side, but leveraging on the real estate side.
Right.
Yeah. So that will give you, of course, very different numbers. Then we also want to take a look that people will, of course, challenge, right? Hey, if I buy into dividend stocks, I can also leverage. Who says I can't? Right? For those of you who are not familiar, of course, when you go into stocks, you can also choose to leverage through a margin account. Right? Of course, a margin account is, of course, when you borrow money from your broker to invest into securities at a much higher value than you invested. Right? A form of leveraging as well. But then there will also be, with every margin account, there will be a margin maintenance amount or margin limit. That's what they call it, right? So in times where the stock market fluctuates, value goes down, and it hits below the margin maintenance amount, then you may get a call from your broker to say that, hey, there's a margin call, you need to top up. In those cases, of course, it will be rather risky. Depending on how much the margin call is, whether you have sufficient funds to top up. And I think that puts a lot of stress on the investor as well, especially in quite turbulent times like what we are in right now, right? One day it can be high, the other day new news comes out.
Volatility.
A lot of volatility, really. So I think you can leverage. Of course, you have to make sure that when the margin call comes, do you have sufficient funds to make up for that margin call? So with margin call in play, I think if you're looking at the leverage kind of aspect, maybe the real estate route will be a lot more conservative, a lot safer, a hardier asset as well. Doesn't fluctuate as much, not so much volatility. Of course, that is provided that you invest in the right kind of properties. But if we take a look at, if we try to level the playing field, let's say today, Jason does not leverage from the bank. He does not take any form of mortgage, for example. 1.4 million, he can buy maybe say a 1-bedder in CCR or a 2-bedder in OCR. Although now 2-bedder OCR 1.4 million also a little bit
tough,
tight, a little bit tight.
Still can.
But options are not too much. Let's say today we level the playing field, no leveraging at all. 1.4 million into stocks, 1.4 million into real estate. I personally think if you want something that is of course more hassle-free, the dividend play might be a bit more attractive. If you put everything into real estate, then we also want to talk about the last consideration, which is the holding cost. Because a holding cost for a dividend yield play versus a holding cost for a real estate play, I think the real estate play there's a lot more factors in there. Property tax, maintenance of the property. If you choose to rent it out, there will be repair costs and all these kind of things. Of course, we're not even talking about intrinsic issues like your managing of the tenant, managing with your broker and all those kind of things. On the dividend side, of course, there are some holding costs involved as well.
Right.
If you choose to hold it in a, say, individual CDP account, of course, the cost of holding may be lower versus if you hold it into, let's say, a custodian account, then there'll be fees involved in that as well.
Right.
So I think if we were to extrapolate that into an Excel sheet, of course, it's easier to see what are the differences in terms of the values. But I think broadly speaking, those are some of the considerations to take note if, let's say, Jason and Elaine decides to, go into this strategy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Do you guys invest in stocks?
Ooh.
I used to. Then after that, I realized you need like very constant market updates. Like it's like every day you need to know like what's going on and stuff. And I find it like a little bit tiring. Unless of course I go to the safer ones. But because I needed some down payment for my property,
Right.
so I sold that off and then I went into property instead.
So what do you used to buy? You buy growth stocks or dividend stocks?
No, I used to buy the banks are the local banks. Like that's what it like the safe ones.
Yeah.
The safe ones are local banks are which one? DBS ah?
DBS, OCBC, UOB.
Oh, I see. How about you, Wei?
I go more for blue chip. So not so much dividend, but you can call it growth stocks also I guess, but I don't do like dollar cost averaging.
Okay.
Oh,
I just whack like one lump sum first.
Growth
Yeah.
stocks ah? Tech stocks ah?
Tech stocks,
Magnificent Seven ah?
and yeah, you can say so.
So
Yeah,
you don't buy
Magnificent
dividend
Seven. No. At this point in time, no. But I do hear a lot of recent chatters about Singapore REITs. Apparently, it's giving very like stable, healthy dividend. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I may need some advice there. That's
Okay. Okay. But of course, we cannot give financial advice.
Yes, correct. Correct.
Right. Anyway, I think there's a lot of good pointers that's brought up by Jun Wei. One of the key things he brought was really about volatility. So if you look at this, I think one very good perspective is to look at dividend stocks, growth stocks, and real estate as three different kind of like investment strategy because they're all three very different products. One thing about real estate, of course, maybe people say, you guys are property people, right?
Oh,
you
you're
say
gonna
that
push
real
for
estate is good.
yeah.
Okay, but we just need to look at the facts and the numbers is that ever since we have 16 rounds of cooling measures, the holding period of property owners in Singapore, it has increased to 9 years. That means based on the latest Morgan Stanley report, averagely sellers hold their properties for 9 years before they think about selling. The rationale is because most people buy properties to consume, to stay, to build their family, for their parents to stay together, kids to get near to school, family nucleus. And because of seller stamp duty, it has created a blackout period of minimum 3 years. That means in the past, people tend to sell properties and flip properties after they buy for 1 year, 2 years. But now they will have to think about it before they buy because they know that they'll be taxed with a seller stamp duty of 3 years. So it has prolonged their period of holding on to the property. Now, one thing about volatility is that if you were to look at this board here, right? So if you were to look at this board, recently did anybody sell your stocks because of the volatility after the tariffs came out?
Well, not me.
No.
Oh, okay.
Did you sell your stocks?
No, I didn't buy in the first place. Okay, so first thing, of course, we want to look at your property being your property, right? This is your own consumption. Okay, we need to know this keyword called consumption. Why? Because anybody that consumes the property, they are technically called the tenants. Even for you yourself, that when you are consuming your own property, you are technically the tenant consuming it, right? Which is why whatever is the monthly installment, let's say for example, monthly installment is $5,000, and if it comprises of interest of $2,000, principal of $3,000, you have to pay both of it, right? Of course, your principal gets released to you when you sell the property, right? But you are still called the tenant. Now, if you were to buy an investment property, you are not called a tenant, you are called the landlord. You are also the investor. The tenant pays basically you a rental that you get to enjoy, this X amount. And of course, you then use this to funnel into paying the holding costs, which is either, firstly, you will take it that you are paying off the interest, the tenant is paying the interest for you to the bank, and it's contributing also partially into the principal. So if you were to rent out for $4,000, then this $4,000 is contributing to pay off the interest and helping you to build savings. And then you yourself as a landlord, you then top out $1,000, right? Now, so once we are very clear about this, we will know, okay, if you buy a property, you consume it because you need a place to stay. If not, you have to stay with your parents, you go to rent a place and you become a real legit tenant. If not, when you have a second property, you are technically like the investor that earns an income.
Yeah.
All right. So we call this a very different kind of asset play. Now, when we talk about the other two components, just now Jun Wei was talking about the dividend kind of play, is really to buy very safe kind of stocks to earn maybe like 5%, or maybe sometimes REITs pay out 6.5% or 7%. Then the other one is the growth stock. Usually a lot of growth stocks, they don't pay dividends. For example, if you buy the M7, Nvidia and all that kind of stuff, it's really about can they increase 10, 15, 20% a year. Now, I think it's important to look at them as 3 different pockets or even 4 different products. This one product, you stay. One product, you rent out. This one, you put in a lump sum and you get a dividend. This one, you put in a lump sum, you hope for growth. Now, actually, if we were to look at it in a different manner, what if you can purchase a property that has a growth engine? For example, this guy has a growth engine. This guy also have a growth engine. You consume one property with a growth engine, but you rent out the other property also with a growth engine. Now, when you rent this out, this is considered like a dividend play. Now, then maybe you'll say that, hey, but dividend play, I get pure dividend and have no monthly installment. Now, of course, the reason you don't have monthly installment is because let's say you have $300,000 here, you put it inside, you get pure dividend, you have no loan. But here, with $300,000, if you leverage times 4, you can buy a property up to $1.2 million, and it's only fair you have a monthly installment, right? But you're getting the tenant to pay for the monthly installment. So the reason is because, like Jun Wei mentioned, there is a leverage play here of 4 times. So what if you can get a property with a growth engine like the M7 stock, but at the same time, one of them is a growth engine plus a dividend play. Then you can look at it as a very holistic approach. So you don't have to lump all your money into property. You can, from here, actually have a very different creative perspective, because we have some clients, once the property appreciates value, they can extract equity and then they put back into dividend stock. Right? So you should always leverage all different kinds of play. Now, the best thing is that this will solve the volatility issue. Why? Now, I'll give you an example. Every time human beings, when you see the stock price come down, the first thing that you think about is that you want to sell, right? Then when you see the stock price go up, then you say, "Ayah, jialat already, I missed the boat. I better buy now." So it's like we like to buy when the price is going up and we like to sell when the price is going down, because whenever we see live stock prices and we can have 24/7 access on a Monday to Friday when US market open, we feel like pressing the button.
Very anxious.
This one, once you buy, you sign the OTP for the next 3 years, you cannot press the button anymore.
No matter what happens in the market.
No matter what happens. Then you just tell yourself, it's okay, like, if I buy a new launch, just progressive payment. You buy a resale, just rent out, right? Jesley, you bought a property. Have you ever pressed the button before? It's not even 3 years.
She cannot yet. My tenant pressed the button for me.
What happened? What happened to your tenant?
Sorry for another time. My
talk about it.
No, it's part of the holding cost also.
Oh, really. I share. This one can. But anyway, this one can. No, because
what do you mean your
over
tenant
already.
press your button? Okay.
My tenant
Can't focus on her.
my tenant
She has a landlord nightmare.
borrow money from multiple loan sharks and banks.
Banks also.
And banks also. I only know that when I went to talk to the other tenants, and then I clear out what is in the letterbox.
You rented out to somebody that was doing co-living, right?
Yeah, but I already know. So there are a bunch of EP
Okay.
employment passes, and because that area there is some factories. I know. I just like never go and think so much, right? Because I am a property agent myself. Like I have to find tenant and appointment. I just never thought that.
No
such
red
an
flags,
episode
very
will-
normal. No red flags yet.
Yeah lah. No, there's no red flags. How would you ever know? So I always tell the landlord, you will never know. No matter how decent or like how high of a
So the tenant look very
position.
decent.
Very decent, very clean. Actually, I've never seen before, but from like all the photos that I've seen.
Right.
No, I said I show you all this. No, not sure.
Hey, okay, talk a little bit about your numbers first. You bought a property for how much?
1.2.
Ooh. In which year?
2023.
That's a 3-bedder, right?
That's a 3-bedder.
Okay, tell the audience honestly. Last time when I pushed you to buy this property, have you ever regretted until today?
Never.
Wait, you're the one who pushed her to buy ah?
Yeah.
Oh.
He pushed me to
I always push people to buy one. At first you come in, I'll push you to buy a car, then I'll push you to buy a property.
I'm glad I'm glad that I bought that.
Okay, how much is the property worth today?
Now I think any other transaction.
What's the asking price?
1.45. Now I'm asking. I think transactions 1.35 to 1.4.
Oh, okay.
I still have one more year.
Okay.
How much is your monthly installment?
At the point of time was 4166. Yeah,
Then how much do you rent out for?
I ran out at 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so I literally, which is the reason why I
Wow.
took this tenant, right?
Yeah.
Because like it covered my entire. I needed a product. If I because I'm an investor now, I needed a product that I can cover the mortgage, which is why I chose.
And the MCST fees and everything.
Yeah, and the MCST and the property tax, everything is covered already.
Right.
I still have a bit of petrol money left, if I'm not wrong. Like maybe 200, 300.
Passive income some more.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Then you rent out for how long? 1.5 years before
One and a
the
half
nightmare
year
happened.
before the nightmare happened.
Oh,
Correct.
okay. But it's settled already lah.
Yeah, I mean settled already. Yeah. So, but I didn't want to deal with tenants. I didn't want to deal with the lease, and also I have the plan to sell. So I decided to put in a bit of money. Then I spruce it out a bit. Then I stay myself.
So you move out already.
Soon, two more
2 more
days.
days.
Oh, you renovated already.
I renovated already.
Wow.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Long
Congrats.
journey.
Okay, so but you successfully rented out for 1.5 years
Yeah,
and
which is
you were
not bad.
collecting
It
rent.
really helped me to tong because after I clear out the down payment, I got no money to pay for the mortgage for sure. But I'm glad I did that.
Okay. Then now you're moving back. Then you want to sell already next year.
Yeah, but I managed to reduce my interest rate
Oh.
2.55.
So,
So what's your
At
mortgage?
the point of time was 3.68.
so now what's your monthly installment?
Now it's 3122.
Whoa.
Wow, such a big difference.
Yeah. What's a
So
huge
it's
difference, man?
more, yeah, it's more
Wow.
palatable.
Wow. So now you're moving in, you're consuming it.
I'm consuming it.
She's a tenant now.
I'm a tenant now, correct.
Okay, but you're consuming it fully lah.
Fully, but because I have 2 older kids to take care, the plan is to rent out the HDB. Then I use it to sustain it.
Right.
Like you're moving your
My parents over.
your phone.
then
Yes.
you rent out the HDB.
Correct.
Then how to sustain this also.
Correct.
The HDB can rent out for how much?
3.6.
Whoa.
3.6.
Wow. Very singmok. Oh.
No wonder no regrets.
Yeah, no
So
regret.
then this one rent out the HDB. Then pay for this one.
Huh? What? Again?
Then the HDB pay for this one lah.
Yeah, lah,
Yeah.
correct lah.
Wow.
But in between there
So
is
got the
that
HDB fully
time
paid
lah.
already.
Almost a few more months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you don't do that stuff? That sounds very uncle.
Okay, 2026 you will sell.
Yeah, 2.6 I'll sell.
Then why do you want to sell?
Sell because it's a bit aged, that particular condo.
Okay.
So I
Can you tell us
wanted
which condo is
something
it?
there. It's Serangoon now. Okay, can already. That's more than enough.
Which floor?
Yeah, it's a bit
Which
aged.
tower? What layout?
It's a 3-bedder unit.
Okay. So you want to sell and buy something bigger? Ah?
Yeah, something bigger, something newer.
Okay. Great. Fantastic. Jun Wei, any thoughts?
No, I think whatever you talk about just now about I guess you're almost talking about a hybrid kind of product, right?
Yeah.
With real estate, you find something that has growth engine, almost acting like a growth stock. I mean, on the other side, we also talk about, for example, we just saw a new 0.1 bidder. That to me, I think is almost like a dividend play.
Yes.
Not much capital appreciation, but you get very good rental income.
Confirm can cover the
It's just that your
Very
name gets
good.
stuck lah.
Your name is stuck, correct? You get one name stuck. there is of course opportunity cost when you go into strategies like this or products like this. You get one name stuck. You don't really earn so much on the capital appreciation. There's no second engine for capital appreciation growth. But it may work for some people also. If you're already in your, say, consolidation phase, you have additional funds. You again want to avoid volatility. You want to put it in something that's a bit more stable, but still can give you that passive income. Then maybe a one beta product could work as well. Yeah. So I guess the point is there's no right, no wrong. It really depends on which season you're in.
Yeah.
I think Jason and Elaine in this current autumn season, like we talk about it, they still have probably 1 round, 2 rounds to flip before they go into a defensive stage. It may not be the most ideal situation because you're not really... I guess the whole point or the whole crux is we want to see how much you can stretch your dollar. And we try to balance that out with your monthly outlay, which I guess we'll talk a little bit more later on as well. And to find that sweet spot to give you to say every month you're not so xiong, you still have sufficient to cover, it's still sustainable.
Yeah.
I guess that's the whole point of this.
Yeah. And also I think the important thing is that we believe in this strategy called the next stronger asset. That means we call it, let's put it big here, NSA, next stronger asset. Yeah, so NSA is a strategy that you need to hunt for the next stronger asset. The reason is because you need to look at whether this current property has done its job. Has your Bartley Ridge done its job? If it has done its job from 1.6225 billion all the way to 2.7 billion, and it has done its job already, because of course if you couple in like the competition, the decreasing lease, at a 4 beta at $2.7 million, how much more runway and speed does it have? Or should you funnel this into a next stronger asset to let it have like a faster kind of acceleration runway?
Renewed growth.
Yes, or a stronger engine that can actually go faster, right? So if you can hunt for that, then I think you should not do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the second one. Jesley, you want to take us away?
Sure. So the second option is whether or not they can decouple, rent out Bartley Ridge, this 4 beta, and then buy another condo to stay. So this couple, they have bought Bartley Ridge in 2013. So if we backtrack a little bit, based on how much did they bought at the point of time was 1.366 if I'm not wrong. And then it was bought in 2013 at the point of time. Let's just assume that all the way the interest rate is the same, 2.5%. And then they were young, so they managed to take a 30-year loan. Up till date in 2025, the balance remaining loan should be about 700 over. And on paper, it seems that it's currently valued at 2.7. So if let's say we did all the homework for Jason and Elaine, because Bartley Ridge is actually up and coming estate.
Right.
It's right next to Bidadari. But all these owners is massive. The BTO estate there is really huge. And then all of them are just getting their key. They fall under the normal BTO category, of which 5 years later they're going to MOP. There is another new launch that is Bartley View. Was it Bartley View?
Bartley View, yes.
The latest one.
Yeah, so there's still some transformation happening. There's still exit strategy. And if let's say the decision was to, maybe this Bartley Ridge 4 beta can still work a little bit harder before it, runs out the COE. Yeah, just to reach out for the COE right now already, then okay, maybe we can dispose of that. But maybe for now, we can choose to hold on to it. Then
unless there's some sentimental reason.
Yeah, maybe they really
matrimonial home.
I love the place, the layout, the view.
Actually, the longer you stay in the property, the more you have sentimental reason.
Are you talking about yourself?
Are you
and your
talking
jumbo?
about
No lah. Yeah lah. My jumbo lah last time.
It's
jumbo story again.
I don't want to let go. Okay, so if we take a look at the decoupling strategy, because I'm not too sure what is their holding, the percentage of the holding. Let's assume that they already have plans such that the husband is taking the 99% and then the wife is the one taking the 1%. If that's the case, then based on the decoupling, then it frees up Elaine's name. It frees up the wife's name And then the wife can now go and hunt for something else. Whereas for Jason, he just need to take over the remaining of the loan amount, which is very, very minor because it's just 1% over the current valuation. So as of now, the loan is supposed to be at about 700 and something. The new loan amount is still about the same, 728,000 only. So I'm not talking about like refinancing or putting the property up for mortgage and then stretching the loan. This is just purely decoupling to free up the name. Okay, so if that is the basis, then let's take a look at how much Jason will be paying after he decouple. So on the next slide, because he hold on to the property since 2013, if let's say they are just going to use based on the remaining loan tenure of 18 years, every month would be about 4,002. But because he's 45 years old, if let's say you can re-loan up to what the bank can accept, which is up to 65 years, let's take a look at a 20-year remaining loan. It reduces the monthly payment to 3,008. So on the right side, you see, I did some calculation already because Bartley Ridge was meant for a rent out. Right, the plan was to decouple and rent out. As of now, maybe a 4-bedder can garner you about 6,008. I still minus off the MCST for them, not too bad. Then the positive cash flow would be about 2,005. That's quite decent. Positive cash flow for a property in Singapore, it's not easy to get. Unless like you have a situation like them, that they hold on to the property for 10 over years, they pay off most of the outstanding already, such that the mortgage can be now more palatable. Okay, then the next best scene is, okay, let's say we managed to stretch the loan tenure a little bit, up to 25 years. Now, the mortgage is being reduced to 3,002. 3,2. MCST still stays the same, 400. Then it puts your positive cash flow into even nicer number. It's above 3,000 now.
Right.
Okay, so this is assuming like the rental rates are all the same.
Max, I think he can stretch to 29 years.
29 years. I haven't even calculated based on 29
years. So 25 years, I think it's good. Is considered good enough already. You drop to 3,002.
Correct. So if I just see the next slide, right, based on what you can do, that's why we need to be smart about your strategy, smart about the numbers. At the end of the day, it's not just about holding on to the property, it's about the cost of holding. Yep. So all these are going to add a little bit here and there into the expenses or the cost of holding one or two property. So I put around here, if let's say you're holding on to a remaining loan of 18 all the way to 25, the positive cash flow can range from plus $1 more $1,000 difference.
Right. Yes. So the main intent of you doing this, Jesley, is to see how much more cash flow you can use to support the second property, right?
Yes, correct.
Right. Awesome.
Okay.
Next slide will be...
Okay, so... Hold on, let me see.
What can Elaine buy?
Okay, so the next slide, right? Sorry, just one more slide upwards. Is that I've forgotten to take into account that we can actually use Jason's CPF one.
Yeah.
But we haven't even calculated the CPF portion. So cash that he's taking back, right, actually can be 4,500. Based on Jason's income of 20k, he's 45 now. Every month contribution is about 1,004. So you just minus that off. You have a very, very positive cash flow of 4,005. Now the numbers is looking bigger.
Looking good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking good. Okay, now we talk about the wife. The wife is 43 years old. Income is 10,500. It puts her at a max loan of about 1 million. So based on the AI topic that you have given, which is supposed to support a 2 million, okay, you want to see $2 million. The loan that Elaine can take is only 1 million. You want me to buy a 2 million? Never mind, Melvin, I help you to do. It's okay. Okay, let's say you really want Elaine to buy a $2 million. Obviously, there is a shortfall for the loan. On the right side, you'll see the required loan is about 1.5, but because the max loan is only at 1, there's a shortfall of close to 500k. So that's when you can, not say you can't do it, but there can be some creative solution. Yep. Creative mortgage solution, such as pledging the amount or show fundings. So it really depends on how much free funds they have as a couple.
But I think because if let's say they are decoupling and still staying at Bartley Ridge, right? Then at least they have a place to stay. The way the funds flow then can be quite easily planned out when it comes
they
to
will have
showing of
to-
funds or, these kind of things.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say here is that based on Elaine's loan at 1M to stretch to 2M, then you move to my next slide. I say, haha, okay, maybe not. Okay, let's reduce to 1.5 because I thought that was much easier. It's like more palatable. Let's say if it's a 1.5 million condo, the shortfall, it's reduced. At least the shortfall is only like 113,000. I think it's very manageable. If let's say they want to do a show fund, it takes like less than 200K for them to be able to stretch to this quantum of 1.5 million. Okay, so if let's say Elaine buy this 1.5 million condo, now the monthly mortgage is 5544. Okay, over here, 5544. Then remember Bartley Ridge. Okay, sorry, the next one. Bartley Ridge has a positive cash flow from the husband, 4,005. Don't even need the husband to contribute at all, I think. Yeah, don't even need the husband to contribute at all because Elaine is also working. Elaine also have a OA. Okay, so Elaine CPF is about 1,005. So you are paying off the mortgage at 5,005. You need to pay for the MCST at 400. We minus off what Bartley Ridge is offering us, 4,005, minus off the OA. Actually, don't need to top up at all.
Yeah.
Am I being too idealistic? Correct me if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because when I look at the numbers, I say, actually it's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. The only thing is that they have to move to a smaller property.
Yeah, you can move to a 3-bedder OCR region. Maybe somewhere in Mongo, maybe.
Yeah.
Canberra.
Yeah. This one is
you can.
Yeah, this one is to move to a smaller property and then they totally don't have to pay anything. Right.
Then they rent out the 4 bedroom.
Yeah, okay, but the only thing is thanks Jesley, thanks for showing this. I think the only kicker here is what if Elaine and Jason say that they don't want to use any of their savings? That means because based on the decoupling, right, over here, CPF refund will be
1.8. Yeah.
Right, so you will come out on this portion. Existing OA, our scenario is that she doesn't have much existing OA.
Correct.
So if she doesn't want to come out with her own funds, that means in terms of the down payment for a $1.5 million property, it has to be about 419, less off about 200K from the Bartley Ridge that is coming out, right? CPF. She needs to have
top up another
200K cash, right? Yeah. So usually when people decouple, they will definitely stretch the loan and get equity cash out.
Yep.
Yeah. So usually that's what they will do lah. Okay, but technically based on the exercise of exiting, right? Because this is based on Elaine having 1%, huh?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Okay. So basically she's selling a very small portion of shares lah. Okay. Yeah, usually they will definitely take an equity cash out. They will also stretch the tenor, like what Jesley has done. And then when they have the equity cash out, they will use that, of course, to lend to the spouse, and then they will funnel that into the next property. So usually that's the approach lah. They will sort of like loan the other spouse that amount that they have cash out during the interim. Yeah.
And this is so that they do not need to touch any of their current savings.
Correct. Yeah. Jun Wei, you got any thoughts on this? On the decoupling portion?
Decoupling portion, actually not much thoughts, which is just what you mentioned, Lord. If they extract more equity, of course, then they have to take on more loan, which I think is doable for Jason. Yeah, based on his income. I think it's quite safe. But of course, this then also means that from the start, the manner of holding has to be right.
Right.
If they flip it the other way around, then
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50 will be tough and challenging as well.
Yeah, more tax to be paid lah.
Yes, correct. So, of course, if you're watching this and you are in a 50-50 situation, I don't think it's the end of the road.
Some people still decouple.
Yeah, it's still possible to decouple, like we did for our client last year.
Still decouple, right?
Yeah, they were 50-50 decouple. Yeah, so I think it's still doable.
Because they have a bigger plan in mind.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
so
after working on the numbers, it's still worth it.
Yeah, I think there will be different permutations lah to this. And in short, I think there are options.
Yeah.
If you're in this position, there are options for this couple.
Yeah.
again is to really crunch down the numbers to see what is.
Actually,
is the
Jesley
best-
presented a
the
very
best
good
way
plan
forward, yeah.
because there's a lot of optionality. For example, once you decouple, actually you can switch it.
Yeah.
That means this one can be rented out.
Yeah.
Remove Elaine's name to buy a property to rent out and continue to stay at Bartley Ridge without affecting your life at all. That means everything is the same, but you just take one more name out to buy and rent out. Anyway, your monthly installment is still low, 4,000 plus. Then you rent out this particular rental property. You will still be able to see some cash flow, right? For example, let's say a $1.5 million OCR. Like example, you look at Jesley, her own property is already renting out at about 5,000. So let's say we don't rent to co-living tenants, right? We just take a normal one, let's say $4,000. Monthly installment is how much, Elaine?
5544.
5544. Okay, this is without stretching lah.
No, it's just normal.
Okay, then her CPF?
CPF as of now
1.5.
1.5.
So basically, you take 5544 minus 1.5 is about 4,000.
Yep.
Then you take the 4,000 rental, cover that 4,000 is about net. Yeah. So basically, they can still continue their lifestyle of staying in Bartley Ridge. Just pay the installment because it's about 4,000 plus. Hubby contribute about 1,000 plus. Cash top up about 2,000 plus. Then this property is like technically free.
Correct.
Right? So that is still very doable. So actually decoupling allows you to own one more engine without affecting your current lifestyle. Yeah.
And I guess the good position that they're in is that the loan for Bartley Ridge is relatively low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having the second engine of an investment property, I guess that strategy is then to make sure that you buy the right
Both must have some
property
growth factor.
that can still grow, because I think for that one, the play is not so much the rental portion.
Yeah.
It's really to bank on
Capital appreciation.
capital appreciation and what we can stretch out of it, say, in the next 4-5 years. Yeah, before they hit the age of close to 50.
Yeah. Actually, let's calculate a little bit for Jesley, like your cash flow, right?
For my
For her case,
do I need to pay for concert or not? I never bring cash out, Melvin.
$99.
How much you charge? 99
Yeah, 算你便宜一点，99块就好。
Thank you, thank you. Okay.
Okay, so when you look at this, right, she bought at $1.2 million. Back then, she already put in 25% down payment. 是不是啊？
Oh, yes, correct.
对不对？
Yeah. About
Okay.
300 over plus the buyer stamp duty.
Okay, so all in, she took a 75% loan. 25% down payment 是多少钱？加 buyer stamp duty.
332.6. Together plus the buyer stamp
count.
duty. I tell you, this calculation, I did at least 100 times before I took the
all the
plunge.
numbers already.
I remember my number.
Your
My
loan,
NZ, I also memorized it. My loan was 900. Hey, this is how
你帮卡什么算有没有说过啊？
She don't know
I
at home.
memorized the
See how many
number.
times already.
332.6 all in ah.
All in already.
Now payment buyer stamp duty everything ah.
Plus buyer stamp duty, correct.
Oh, okay. So now, what is going to happen is that this 332.6, this is from the bank. This is from Jesley.
Correct.
And then let's say next year she can sell at $1.5 million.
My outstanding will be 847,000. My outstanding loan is 847.
You assume 1.5 million already lah.
Yeah, so confirm can one.
You
yeah.
assume 1.5 million already.
Confirm can one.
It's about, should be got 600 over if I'm not wrong, if I calculate correctly.
Cash proceed ah.
Cash 653. Sorry, if you 1.5 minus 847, total is 653.
Okay, so
Am I will bring you up to date.
okay, so your outstanding loan will be 847.
Yes, correct.
This is your initial investment,
my
II.
capital.
Yes, right.
Right, II, right?
Mm.
Okay, this is what you need to return to the bank. This is your original investment.
Yes, correct.
If you sell at 1.5 million, how much will you cash out?
653,000.
Okay, 653 minus 332 is how much?
321.
321K. Okay, so this is including your profit plus your equity,
Yeah.
your principal. It includes your principal because this one reduced already ma.
No, but my principal is
Principal
bottom
332 ma.
Oh no, okay. I mean the P&I portion of the monthly installment, right?
Yeah.
This is your principal original investment, but this is the principal equity that has been funneled into it. 3 to 1, right? Okay. So the best thing is, even if I don't count your principal that you contributed for the monthly installment in the last 36 months, right? And assuming your original loan is still 900,000, what is your actual profit? So I just draw a difference here just to show everybody the difference. Let's say your original loan is 900,000, right? Okay, then you put in 332, right? Then if you sell at 1.5, then what is the profit? Take 1.5 minus 900是600 600减332多少钱？
321
600减332
268.
Okay, 268k pure profit, right? Now the beauty is that the bank is not even interested in the profit.
Correct.
Yeah.
The bank don't need to share profit with you, even though they are a 75% stakeholder investor in this new startup.
Yeah.
When you sell this startup, right, they never say that, hey, this 268, you give me 75% because I own 75% shares as a shareholder. No,
Yeah.
They are just interested in taking back the interest and the outstanding amount, which is now 847. That's the beauty, because technically speaking, she has used 332 to exchange for 268. And over the last 24 months, even though she has some tenancy issue, but she collected 18 months of very good rental income. 18个月乘5000是多少？
90,000.
She collected $90,000.
Wow.
And she has already spent it.
Yeah.
So technically, she collected this amount, 268 plus 90,000, all in, when she sells at $1.5 million. That's going to be 368,000， 对吗？
8 what?
58啦，没有358啦。
358.
哇，今天忘记吃银锅比萝卜，脑不要慢一点。She has collected this. So 332 exchange for this.
Yeah.
Right. So this is all within a short span of 36 months. And actually, we are only interested in what we call like a return on investment.
Yeah.
So we're only interested in, I put in 332, how much can I exchange back? So actually what is going to happen is that at the end of this entire exercise, the total amount that is going to come out is that she's going to get this, she's going to get this. Now her portfolio expanded to a total, I would call it like a bullet pool. Her bullet pool has increased already. Yeah, it's about 653,000. And then she's going to use this and regenerate into something else. NSA, yes. Going to a NSA. Next stronger asset.
I mean, G just over ma.
Okay, let's go into the third scenario. Okay, come. Third scenario is, what is that?
Third scenario, your pivot play.
Third scenario is the...
Okay, this pivot play, right? We will look at a very... Okay, let's not base on this AI $3.2 million lah. Let's base it on... But 9 years now actually
It's
not cheap
actually
also.
around
Not
there.
cheap.
already.
Or 3 mil lah. Around
Yeah, I
3
just
mil.
saw one at
More than 3 mil.
Is this price already? That's 70 over years. But it's beautiful. You got to stay in the landed because like the rest of the landed
Singapore is getting very expensive.
Even Erika? Erika?
The one under 3.
More than 3 mil already.
Oh, we sold the 9
Yeah, we saw it's the 9 years landed.
Yeah, it's around this price already.
Okay, no choice lah. Everything is just so appreciated now, right?
That's
okay.
Okay. But this is provided they really want to stay in a landed
Yeah,
living
so
lah.
maybe we assume because the
They
start
wanna,
of
they
it,
wanna,
right,
they
is
wanna.
that they want to stay in the
They want a space. They want more space lah, because
Yeah.
not enough space really. So they want to stay in the landed. But then they don't want to lump all the eggs into one basket, because if they were to buy a freehold now, there's no more, very hard to find like 4.2, let's say 4.5 million. Everything has to be in one basket, all eggs in one basket. So they want to spread into two. So we call this a pivot home strategy. Let's buy a slightly lower cost landed, 99, just to stay with no intent to sell already. That means we just like,
like
take it
a
that if
forever
we don't
home,
sell,
yeah.
we're okay.
Villa Verde can 2M plus.
Yeah. Then we're okay if we don't sell. Don't sell lah, right?
Yeah, just stay forever.
Then buy another condo to rent out. Okay, enjoy the lifestyle, lower installment for 3.2 million landed. Okay, who wants to take it away?
What can they buy?
Can 3.2
Okay,
still can
because
buy.
I did the homework based on your current scenario. So I just run through if they want to find a nice looking landed 99-year lease and not in Choa Chu Kang, okay, somewhere like 3.2.
Bedok have a lot. Bedok have a
No,
lot.
but because quantum, you want
D16
anything
got a lot.
Yeah,
D16
D16. I
got a
think
lot.
D19 maybe still can find some.
Yishun also has, sure.
Park
sure.
Villa there. Okay.
Okay, come.
Assuming because
Okay.
they are going to sell Bartley Ridge. Now they are going to re-strategize and then buy a landed.
Sure.
So assuming that they sell Bartley Ridge at the paper valuation of 2.7, we just take a look at the total cash and CPF that they are going to get back. Okay, so CPF will be refunded to both the husband and wife. The total cash that they are getting after minusing your legal fee, your agency fee is about 1.3 odd million. Whereas the total CPF that they can take back, and because we assume that they have already wiped out their CPF to begin with, combined CPF will be about 580,000. So all in all, net, we are talking about 1.9 cash plus CPF. Okay.
All right.
Next, then let's take a look at their combined income, like how much can they loan as a couple. Total combined income max loan will be about 2.7. If they were to fully leverage or based off this 2.7, the max quantum that they can stretch up to would be about 3.6. But no, you don't need a 3.6 for a 99-year lease landed. So let's keep it to our quantum at 3.2. Following the 5% cash, 20% CPF or cash, the 75% will be in loan. Your total monthly installment would be about 12,000.
This will be under Jason's name lah.
Yeah, this is assuming like they want to lump it all together to buy one. Then the good part will be great. Congratulations, you're currently staying in a landed, but you miss out the opportunity to free up a name. So later I will talk about actually one of them can own this particular landed still. Okay. So if let's say they combine the names to buy this 3.2 landed, then this will be how much funds they will be left with. On the left-hand side, they initially had 1.9 CPF plus cash, but after minusing off what they need for the down payment, buyer's stamp duty at a 3.2 quantum, the CPF is wiped out, but cash-wise, they still have about $1 million to play with. Because the total down payment requires only about 900 plus.
Okay.
So if let's say you still have 1M, then the question I pause here. Should the wife buy a second property under a name and then pay for that ABSD? Because that was what the AI generated the scenario for us.
No lah, we don't pay ABSD. Okay,
That's why I did not do that homework.
Definitely no.
So let's scrape that off.
Yeah.
After that, I realized that if under the husband name only, it actually is possible for him to own this.
We just pledge lah.
Yeah, but there will be quite a amount to pledge, which is at
320,000 lah. But they got spare cash lah.
Yeah, they do have. So I think there's some shifting of the funding.
Can they unpledge also?
Possible. Much
About
lower.
1.1 mil
At how much?
to show funds.
Yeah, they still have about 1 mil.
They still
Can show.
have. They got 1M plus to play with.
Can show lah, can show. Just nice I think can show. Right.
Then that frees up the wife's name again, so that the wife now can just buy the second property without any ABSD. So now back to what we discussed earlier, which is the wife buying the 1.5 million condo. Yeah, so it's still possible, but
So it's doable.
I think it's a little bit tight because the first property quantum is much higher.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one is 12,000 monthly mortgage. So you need to there's a lot more to pay out because you're
Cash outlay is 9,008 lah.
Yeah.
So even buying a 99 years landed is already $12,000 a month. Unless you stretch tenure lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very scary,
But I think most of the
12,000 a month leh.
but I feel in real life scenario, right? Most of the cases when clients are looking at 99-year lease landed, they usually are downgraders
Oh,
from
really?
their freeholds.
Freehold landed lah.
Yeah, their quantums are much higher, 4M, 5M. They probably already fully paid. They have a bunch of cash after they sell the freehold. Then they
Right.
still want to stay in the landed.
Right.
And because they're aged, they're retirees, they don't really need to care about the balance lease. Then, okay, maybe a 99-year lease is very comfortable for this group of people.
What if they just combine and buy a pure
beta.
freehold landed.
Huh? Oh,
Can
come
we
on.
talk about that in episode 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one with
4.2,
Sean and Phyllis.
Yes, correct.
Mm.
But need to stretch tenure lah. You see, if you stretch right, it's about 9,007.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do we need to like commit to a 1-year loan first before? we
Yes.
can- okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's
yes. Minimum 6 months. If you take a floating, then after 6 months you can refinance.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
That's one mortgage. Creative solution.
With this, then perhaps it will be a little bit better lah, because our husband got OA 1,004.
Mm.
Then after you minus this, it will be basically you just need to top up 9,007 minus 1,004 is about 8,003 lah. Yeah. Then of course you can funnel a little bit of funds if there's any passive from the wife's property lah. But if we assume there isn't, then you just need to take note that your cash outlay is about 8,000
plus,
8,003 cash lah. Do you think it's too stressful for a family like in their 40s?
I mean, they got
I
no
would-
kids, right?
Got kids, 2 kids ma. Then
2
the
kids
kids look the same age as them.
that's
I mean, the kids look like they need to go university soon. It does look a bit stretched for me.
I mean, their combined income is 30,500.
Yes.
Just as you say, 8.3, right?
Mm.
Yes.
30,500.
One person earns 20,000, one person earns 10,500. Do you think it's
Technically, 9,000 plus. Is
I mean,
okay.
it's about 27% of their combined household income. I still think it's okay.
Mm.
based on what? How do you get 27%?
So usually, I mean, you just take the
Total
that's
amount.
that's the outlay, right?
The
Oh, total amount.
8,003.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I take 9,007, oh no, I take 8,003 because they got what ma?
CPF
Yeah, they can.
or use a cash component
Yeah,
Okay, but
it's
then
27%. If I take 9,007 divided by the 30,500, right, it's about 31%. Still below the 40% threshold.
Mm.
yeah, but you need to take the wife also. The wife.
But that will be covered by the rental, right?
Yeah. Can it be fully
I
covered?
don't think can cover the rental.
This is what 3 meter.
3 beta 1.5, yeah.
Then rent out for how much? 4,000. Now rental drop already, right?
Yeah,
this year.
no,
Drop
drop
quite
already.
drastically.
The rental market is bad right now.
So let's say she need to top up another 1,005. 1,005 add back to 9,007. 11,002.
The total
We are
payout
approaching very 36%. Still okay. I feel.
You're pegging against their gross income or disposable income, because you see this one 20,000 and 10,000 haven't less on the CPF.
Yeah, I'm basing off gross lah.
Gross lah. Okay, so it's about
They're combined.
closing into
household
40%
income.
already. Yeah.
Closing into 40%.
What is your usual recommendation to your clients? Try not to touch 40% or 45% or 35% or
I think 40%.
For me, 40%, yeah.
40% is safe. I don't want to go anything
Yeah.
higher.
But then again, if
You
you have
buffer,
kids and
Then it will be
extra
even
commitment, then you might want to dial that down a little bit.
Mm.
35%, 30%.
Your personal comfort level is how many percent?
40.
40%.
Actually, my risk appetite is higher.
Quite high, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 50% can.
No, I think depends on the situation or depends on the season. Again, depends on season.
Yeah, I eat
Yeah.
off PLB's free meals. So, yeah, help me to save a bit.
No, but if let's say I have no kids,
Yeah,
right?
true.
It's just me and my spouse. I probably just have a commitment of, let's say, a car.
Right.
Then okay, I can stretch to
But you got
50%.
tithing, right?
Huh?
You got tithing, right?
What's tithing?
Yeah,
Every month you give tithing to your parents, what?
Oh yeah, I do.
10%? You should tell me one.
Yeah, if my parents are watching this, actually I don't know whether my parents are watching this.
What's that?
But if my
term
parents are
for?
watching this,
Eh,
right?
好嘞，他的家
They had a very,
how
they
about
had
you
a
got
very
contract with the 3 kids？做工啊，每个月 10% 给我
Oh my
，10
god！
10已经讲好了，fix 好了。
Like another
他们很
CPF
乖的
ah, so
no,
like,
no the funny thing is my parents are very good negotiators.
wow.
And then you're very 乖 one, right?
Or rather, right, actually, right, there was no negotiation at all because this was already
Stated.
input
It's a
implanted in the mind, right?
Tax.
Since
my God.
since I was young.
But good lah. I mean, you honor your parents which is good one.
I mean, now that I'm in sales,
10% of your earnings
10%. So it's like income tax.
Yeah.
Gross or net? Gross or net? After business
I
expense.
do net lah. What is? It has to be net what?
Oh.
Okay, so
But you're
how I
honest
do
lah.
it is just I'm very honest. I show my NOA lor.
Oh.
I'm very honest one.
Oh, you're really, really honest.
Yeah.
Then,
So 10% of net lah.
of net lah. Then you just give your parents.
Yeah. So if I do more, then of course I pay more.
Oh.
Yeah, 10%. Do you think 10% is too high?
I mean, it's your filial piety.
No, but to you,
Honourable
to your
kind of thing.
to your standards is here. Oh, now we are going into
No lah, every family is different lah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, but yeah, if your parents out there and you want to impose a 10% tax, you might want to do
I'm
it
going to
young.
use this same strategy on my kids.
Yeah, you might want to do it. Yeah, your son quite old already. Your son quite old already, but then faster start.
Faster start to brainwash them.
Impose it first. So that they can't negotiate.
Okay. But you do it willingly and happily lah.
Of course.
To
of
honor
course.
your parents.
Yeah,
lah.
they deserve it. I mean, if you ask
他们
me,
养
realistically
到
speaking,
白白胖胖又帅又美。
胖啊. No, but okay, honestly speaking, do you think that they deserve more than 10%? If you ask me that question, my answer is definitely yes.
Yeah lah.
Okay, that's
But my parents, if you're watching this, am I going to pay that extra?
哇，很好啊，你这个 son-in-law
good.
That's son-in-law. I'm not married yet.
不错。以后我要这样的 son-in-law.
Anyway, coming back to Jason and Elaine.
Okay. So next time you give 10% to your parents-in-law.
No, we did not say that. We did not say that. Okay, that is still a question mark.
Okay.
Well, this episode very dangerous.
Okay. Let's talk about scenario number 4. The last one. Hey, where's scenario number 4?
That's number 4.
The last one is if they go and buy a HDB, right? They sell Bartley Ridge.
The best.
They go and pay off.
Straight away chill already.
Who
Straight
pay a
away chill.
HDB? Let's say 800k, 850k HDB they buy. They can buy something that's big if they want size.
Yeah.
Lease might be slightly older. But I don't know, buy an EA or something. And then use the rest of the money to go and invest. Either invest, I mean, they have to invest. If they buy a
Because
HDB,
they can't buy another property already.
wait for
Because
MOP first. Lor.
Hey, 700k can buy HDB or not now?
I think it's tight. 4-room Punggol where can? 700k?
Okay lah, you buy.
Okay, maybe can.
EA
Still can.
EA, how much? 1 mil.
EA close to 1 mil already.
1 mil.
1 mil.
Yeah.
If you're talking about mature
gut
estates like
renovation.
Tampines,
1
mil easily.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Left 50 over years kind.
Correct. Maybe left like 60 over years, 50 over years. 1 mil EA.
1 mil ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 mil can buy lah.
So if they cash out now, they sell at 2.7, less of outstanding loan, 715. They have about close to 1.9 plus billion.
Yeah.
They go and pay out 1 mil. They left 900 over 1,000.
Yep.
Correct. So 900k, put inside a dividend stock, you get 45k a year. 45k a year, you divide by 12, you get $3,750 a month. So you fully pay a HDB and you get $3,750 a month. Is it worth it?
A bit tough. I mean, the kids look like they need university fees lah.
I think at this stage in
No,
life,
but you got no mortgage. Hey.
you have no mortgage, but I think at this stage in life, it's a bit too early to go into this strategy.
So when? Somehow they are not 55 yet, right?
Yeah.
They can't buy EA. They can't.
They do
they have to
rent
wait
for 15 months.
Oh,
They can
then,
buy.
Then you need to take into account the rental also.
You factor in rental 100 over 1,000.
again.
Yeah.
So when is the good time to start looking at HDBs again?
No, because I think for the very fact that both of them still can loan a decent amount. Both income are still strong. Of course, then you have to factor in things like job security. How much do you think your income is going to increase in the next, say, 5 years, 10 years? Income projection. If you still are in the phase where your income is still increasing,
Right.
then you might want to take on a little bit more aggressive approach to say that, okay, I still use my real estate to build up my total asset value. And then I consolidate at a much later stage when my kids are a bit more grown up. They maybe already have a job, they can sustain themselves. Then you go into that phase.
Right.
I think, but for the very fact that both of them they can still loan a decent amount, their age is still okay, income is still very strong. I think they're still in a phase where they can push a little bit more. Instead of straight going into
asset progression.
Yeah.
Before they down gear.
And this is like probably the last time or the last 2 times they can flip.
Yeah.
True.
This is, I think, a full on, really. So if you look at the screen, right? So if we show the screen, it's really like you just want to get out of the game already. That means you are tired, shag already. Just don't want to think about it anymore. Pay off a HDB, keep cash. Okay, but actually, I think this is a bit more risky. At some point in time, your cash will start to burn on. That means you might need 100k here, 100k there. Maybe your kids want to study overseas. Then you start to tap into this, right?
Yeah.
When I see cash in my bank, I'll be like,
Suddenly you
I have
disappear,
money. I
No,
forgot
that's very true.
about the
That's very true.
liabilities that I have.
你还会自己不见的嘞，那个
Yeah.
cash.
I was like,
Hey, really? I think human beings.
really? If I see
It's
cash
true,
in my
it's true,
bank,
it's
I'm like,
true.
hey, oh wow, I didn't know I'm rich. Oh yeah, let's go holiday. Japan, let's go.
No, but you're right. And when you come to that position where your cash starts running out and you realize that your property is not working as hard for you anymore, or rather
Then
you're
you
in a
need to-
position where you
You
are...
got no asset leh.
Yeah, no, but the asset is just stuck already.
It's not already.
You cannot appreciate much further. I mean, today we talk about $1 million HDB. Let's say in Tampines, you buy an EM. Your lease left with, say, 50 years. How much more runway does it have, or how much more appreciation value does it have in there? What's the potential in that
That means
in
you
that property?
stay for good already. There's no
Yeah.
intention to sell anymore. It's
Correct.
just-
Yeah. Someone you buy this EA, then you only spend 200k to renovate.
Mm.
Then let's say you are left with 700k.
A bit tight.
Actually tight off.
Tight.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I mean, although it's a very defensive one, but
It
you
is.
will your only bullet left is this thing.
Mm.
And the feeling actually I feel is less secure compared to if you have two properties, because actually you know that after 3 years, anytime you want to sell, you sell lah.
Yeah.
You sell one of it, you sell both of it, or you wait until let's say 45, 46, 47 years old after you hold that two condos for 5, 6, 7 years. And anytime anybody gets retrenched,
Right.
or you start to feel a bit more insecure, you sell one of it, but at least you know that two engine has appreciated.
Correct.
Right? There's a higher chance of appreciation, not saying that it definitely will,
Yeah.
because if you buy the wrong condo, you might not appreciate that fast.
But of course, then this strategy can also be very applicable to people who want, say, they really endeavor to live in a certain location, or say a very central location, but I want to keep my entry price as low as possible. For example, I want to stay Clementi or somewhere that's very close to central, say Dawson, right? You pay 1/million for a HDB there. It's the lowest entry product that you can have to live in that location.
Opening a
true.
Duxton, example.
Correct.
Right.
I get to fulfill my
Location
my
dream.
dreams of, or my my needs to live in that location. I pay the lowest entry price possible. I still own a house. And I'm very confident to say that with my whatever cash that I have remaining, we talk about dividend yield play over here. If you are a very seasoned investor and you're very confident that, let's say I put this into growth stocks or anything like that, I can make 20% a year. It could be a very viable option too, because then you keep your entry price as low as possible to be in the location that you want.
Yeah.
And then you have zero debt obligation from that. You fully pay off.
Yeah. And then their monthly income, they can just save whatever
Correct.
balance lah.
Correct.
Yeah. Less
Still
stress
doable.
lah. Less stress.
Less stress, still doable. Of course, that is if you have that skill set to go and say I invest in the rest of my funds and I'm very confident that I can make this certain amount.
Yeah.
So not wrong also.
Yeah. Not wrong also.
Yeah.
Still doable lah. Still doable. Yeah. Or
Huh?
okay, but actually, if you really want to do this, right, then just need to note that there's a 5 years MOP.
Yeah.
Just buy with one name.
Occupier.
Yeah, then the other name is occupier. So at least 5 years later, you still got some options. But you need to factor in a 15 months rental period. But of course, this is subject to disclaimer lah. If HDB remove this, then no more already. Okay, so here you still need to rent for 15 months. Unless
Technically, it's 7 years later before someone can buy anything. And like they are 45 years old and 43 years old, FYI.
Right.
7 years later,
but
it's
then
already 50.
years old already lah.
Yes.
This one you
And
need to factor in rental also lah.
yeah, and at the rate where prices are running, right? Your occupier come out 7 years later,
Nothing to buy
you're,
already.
you're
The
susceptible
cost of
to a lot of
entry
risk.
might be even higher than what it is now.
Yeah.
Exposed to cost of entry,
More
exposed to cooling measures.
7 years.
Yeah, because if you think about the next 7 year cycle, right, do you think that
There hasn't
there
been
won't be any cooling
like a
measure?
full 3 years without any cooling measures,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically a strategy that you're not staying in the market.
Yes.
Yeah, because you need to know that even though our HDB property has performed very well in the last few years after COVID, that was a trigger event after COVID.
Yep.
We have to always assume that HDB properties is meant for stay. It's really not for speculation. There's no guarantee that, you'll see this kind of repeat performance again. Yeah. And private property is a property that will give you a lot more flexibility, including stretching of tenure, equity cash out, and of course, like there's lesser supply. In fact, it's 1/5 of the supply of the HDB supply, right? So landed, of course, is even lesser. It is like, how many? 73,000 versus 1.2 million HDB.
1.2, 1.3 million.
Yeah, it's about
You can never eat ginkgo nuts again.
73,000 divided by
I laugh, but I also don't know the number.
Yeah, also
0.6%
less than that.
of the HDB supply.
Wow, really? Less than 1%.
Less than 1%, right?
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a very different kind of asset class. That's why we always call like the next stronger asset is you have to buy an asset that has a lesser supply, but the demand is more.
NSA.
Right. Okay, so 4 different strategies now. To round up today's session, which will you choose?
Ooh.
Jesley, which will you choose? Do nothing, buy dividend, decouple, stay in Bartley, buy one more condo to rent out, buy a 99 landed to stay, buy one more condo to rent out,
Wow.
If
start reading, buy HDB.
it's 2 years ago, well, because I stayed Bartley before. Bartley
You like?
2 years before was horrible.
Why?
No, because the foundation of the BTO is
Oh,
there.
every day is tung 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 tung
Mount
tung.
Vernon Road is just one way in, one way out. It's so small. And then like it's at the Bartley road to Tampines. You know how many trucks come in and
No,
out
but
of
you
that?
live in there during a period where
The foundation is happening.
yes, but now everything is done.
No, so now the good thing is opposite Bartley Ridge, right? There is some Sheng Siong like kopitiam below the BTO. It's more livable now. And the roads are expanding from 2 lanes to 4 lanes.
Yes.
I would stay and decouple. Option 2.
Decouple. Wow.
Hey, you stayed at Bartley Ridge before?
Yeah, Bartley Ridge before.
Oh, it's rich.
Bartley Ridge, yeah, Bartley Ridge.
Which tower?
The one facing the the
Which
one
floor?
facing the highway. We call it highway.
Why you laugh?
Before lah, she's not there anymore.
Yeah, before.
So you will
Why?
stay at Bartley Ridge, decouple, and then buy another condo. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Bartley Ridge is something that I think still can hold, given the amount of BTOs there.
How about you?
And like
Rene?
Woodley is so expensive.
Yeah. I will sell. I will exit Bartley Ridge. I think the equity that was built up is already very healthy. Of course, they bought the right product. I will exit Bartley Ridge, consolidate my funds, either go into pure freehold landed, 2 names, or I try to keep my quantum as low as possible. I buy a 5-bedder OCR. Can I say where? I don't want to say lah.
Say lah.
Every episode that I come on, I will
Don't say,
I
because
will
the seller
review.
never engage us. Don't say.
DM lah, DM him lah.
I mean,
DM
the
him.
last time we spoke about what was it? The one in Yishun.
Then after that sold out already.
What was that one?
Then people go and buy
Sorry?
Symphony Suites.
Symphony Suites.
Symphony Suites.
Oh,
Oh,
you
see,
see,
even Daniel remembers.
Then people go and buy.
No, I brought a buyer to buy Symphony Suites,
Oh.
4-bedder. You know how much or not?
1.5.
Below 2 million.
Oh.
What happened when you stay out here?
Below 5 million. It's below 1.5 million. 4-bedder. Yes. It's a proper full-fledged 4.
Now,
Look at Jesley.
Yeah,
Proper full-fledged 4-bedder. I'm very tempted by it.
Yishun is not your ground.
Okay, but then if let's say I have to consider factors like my own stay factors, I have kids, I need a bigger
You
space.
already bought already.
Of course, already.
4-bedder.
Yes, 4-bedder.
Now how much? 4-bedder.
Let me check. Which one? Symphony Suite?
So you can buy what? Symphony Suite.
Every episode, I 打广告for Symphony Suite.
Suite is the only
Symphony Suites seller.
Symphony
They know,
Suite.
they know.
Sweet seller. I really have done a lot of work for you guys, man.
Symphony Suite the developer right 是最 creative 的。
What do you mean?
10 years ago no harmonization 他自己 harmonize 先。
Yeah. No balcony.
Yeah, no balconies.
Dumbbell layout.
They auto harmonize
Good,
themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is
They
why
have
the
very
quantum
good foresight.
can be-
Okay, let's see.
You
You see? 1023 square feet, 1.4 million. Still can, why cannot?
Buy lah.
Symphony Suite sellers, you all know where to hit me up. I guess after this episode, we'll put in my contact details, right? Ding, 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 ding. I really done a lot of work for y'all leh. I really did.
MRT 啦，他只是没有 MRT 诶。
But if you look at the 20, is it 2030 or 2030 some?
already, I think.
Or is it the roadmap, the LTA roadmap?
Okay.
If you want it,
要出来了。
if you want it, contact me. I have it. No, it's out already.
The MRT is coming out.
The MRT that runs from Punggol, is it?
Feasibility study.
Oh, but not confirmed.
But they draw the line. They never specify where.
No.
But when I put side by side with the map and compare, right,
Soon,
it seems like it will run very close to the Symphony Suites area.
What line? The new line.
I think it's either a new. Yeah, it might be a new. I think it's a new line. Yeah, new
I
line.
think it's an extension from Punggol.
Yeah, because the northern region, right? That area is the only area that's not covered by MRT now.
Yeah, true. And don't make any sense why there is
Should I
a
buy
2
it?
extension from
Fantastic.
Pasir Ris.
1.4 million.
Just for
Buy lah, you
Four
drive.
bedder.
Anyway, got shuttle bus, what?
he doesn't need.
No, I won't stay there. Okay, no, we're talking about me or if I'm Jason and Elaine.
No, you say you want to buy?
I want to buy lah. I'm
Buy
very
lah.
tempted by it.
Buy lah.
That's how I bought. And
Yeah,
guys, that's how I bought where I
bedder
bought
ah.
today.
That's how I'll make your mother.
Symphony Suites, the facilities very good one.
Exactly like 3
No,
years
I saw the
ago.
facilities.
Facilities
Yeah.
is not bad. A lot of pools.
Then you can walk to the, what is it called? Junction 8 or something like that. Junction 9, sorry. Junction 9. Junction 8 is in Bishan.
Then you
Sorry.
can go to Seletar
Sorry.
and Tiaoyu what?
Tell you, it's not my hobby. Now my hobby is golf.
Oh, then you go there and golf ah.
What?
Seletar
Not
Country
wrong.
Club.
Yeah. No, but I think their lease is running out. Okay, anyway, we are digressing. So I will sell, either buy pure freehold landed, or I'll buy 4 bedder or 5 bedder OCR, keep the quantum as low as possible. So that the other party, right, still has sufficient funds, right, to go and buy another 4 bedder. So that I upgrade my portfolio into.
Actually, just now the
Okay,
Elaine, the
4 bedder.
1.5 million, just straight away buy a Symphony Suite.
Oh,
lor.
yeah,
Yeah.
1.5. Just
Then I have 2 4 bedder portfolio.
Yeah.
Quantum very palatable. I think it's safe. That's what I would do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
You
What
have a
would you
chat
do?
with me.
What will I do?
would you do? Yeah, what would you do?
I'll go back to the previous episode. I'll buy one freehold condo.
That's right.
4 bedder. And I'll buy the 3 bedder 99 to rent out.
Because now it seems like the freehold condos are
Yeah, there's a lot
right?
of good deals. 3
Yeah.
bedder
There
is like
are. There
Yeah,
are.
really.
yeah,
East
low
side got a lot.
quantum 4 bedders or 3 bedders freehold.
Where? Can you tell us
可以
where?
打廣告嘛 I have one freehold 4 bed.
DM me.
I have one
He
freehold.
was selfish, He always push me to say it, right? Then after when I ask him what is it, he say,
No lah, you DM me
DM
yourself
me,
lah. You
DM
DM me lah. I tell you lah.
okay, deal. No, but then what about the audience?
DM me ah.
I should have said that. I just gave out all my information. I literally had one viewer come out to me and ask me, hey, Jun Wei, and the episode you talk about Symphony Suites, right? He really went by.
Really?
No, really, it's true. It's true.
Fantastic.
He bought it under
The
daughter's
power of
name.
NOTG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just DM me lah. A lot of good deals down in freehold.
Oh, I've been too
4
nice. I need to
4 and 3 bedders that I'm hunting for.
I need to be a bit more selfish.
Anyway, you can DM me. I just released my own personal April disparity effect recommendation report. I will send it to you PDF.
Okay, for coming on to this episode as a guest, can we get it?
Yes, can. No problem. Okay, that's the end of episode number 2. We hope that you enjoy. We'll see you on episode number 3 that we will deep dive into a brand new profile.
Oh,
Likely a single person
hey.
or young couple will decide. All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Feeling like a brand new.
How come every time I'm on the episode with Melvin, right, we need to spill some tea, right? It's very dangerous.
Share a little bit about your current relationship.
Eh,
The spotlight.
Share lah.
Oh yeah, the last.